Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. I signed in at Akatsuki for 10 years and get the Kaido template. Chapter 61. Forget it this time. In the future, without my permission, cannibalism is forbidden within the organization. Once discovered, hunt down to death. Quote, Nagato groaned for a while, Nyen spoke nicely at Kakuzu, and finally spared the Akatsuki Beidou. However, the base that was destroyed by you will be repaired by Kakuzu. Thinking of being confused, Kakuzu, who just breathed a sigh of relief, suddenly changed his face when he heard that Nagato asked him to go forward. Legend has it that the powerful aura of the ninja burst out. Universal pull. Nagato's unsatisfactory voice just sounded. Kakuzu has been sucked up in front of him, and he grabbed his neck with one hand. Don't try to provoke God. You don't even know how ridiculous your proud secret technique is in the eyes of God. Quote. Before Kakuzu could react, Nagato had released his right hand. But at the same time, an unstoppable repulsive force has already hit the legendary ninja fiercely. Between gestures, one move universal pull, one move Shenra Tianzhong, legend has it that the ninja has lost a heart on the spot. Is this the power of Rinnegan? Kakuzu's eyes widened when he fell to the ground, and his green eyes were full of horror. Being able to fight the ninja god. This is not a reason for you to fear God. The god of ninja is only human after all, but I am a god who transcends mortals. Senju Hashirama can't kill you, doesn't mean I can't kill. Quote. Nagato kept Rinnegan open, looking down at Kakuzu indifferently and proudly. The two tricks abolished the heart of the legendary ninja. Not only did Kakuzu figure out the account that Kakuzu offended him in the short book street, but also erected an invincible image in the hearts of the legendary ninja, Master Sasori, and Orochimaru. What a tyrannical pupil technique. Just don't know if Rinnegan is stronger than Qinglong. Quote. Seeing the combat power of the two beings standing on the top of Akatsuki, Master Sasori, Orochimaru, these new adorable new ones at Akatsuki are all jealous. This wave of blood loss. Orochimaru and Sasori of the Red Sand, not only did they not get one of the two heads, but they also had to pay for the repair of the base. Hey, I knew it was not so ruthless just now. Quote, unlike Master Sasori and Orochimaru, Kakuzu, who was bombarded by Nagato with a pungent attack, felt more distressed than fearful at this time. Compared to being abolished a heart, Nagato fined him to pay for repairing the base is really terrible. Especially when he thought that the devastated base in front of him was beaten out by him, he regretted it greatly. If God is willing to give him another chance, he will definitely not start so hard. That chief, I want to discuss with you about repairing the base. When I was on the short book street, the pretty girl bought me a life with a box of detonating charms, and you know how valuable my Kakuzu's life is. How much more money is used to repair this base? In view of the fact that this matter was my fault first, I don't want the leader to give me a box of detonating charms so much. On the contrary, I will give you a discount to the leader, and you will kill me again. I will use this life in exchange for not having to pay for the repair of the base. Do you think this works? Quote, for a while, the more I thought about it, the more angry it became. The more I took a step back, the more I thought and the more loss Kakuzu couldn't help but suggest to Nagato. If it works, come on. Hit me, no need to keep your hands, I can stand it. Quote. While talking, Kakuzu took the initiative to put his face in Nagato's hand. Quote. Quote. Tien Yu looked breathtakingly. This Kakuzu is really a good price. Quote. Quote. Nagato was also speechless for a while. He really wanted to raise his hand and slap Kakuzu to death, but when he saw this legendary ninja took the initiative to bring his face to death, he looked like you slapped me to death, he found that his Shenra Tianzhong was a bit blocked. Obviously, he made it by himself, but I don't know why, he just can't make this move. Quote. Quote. Conan and Yahiko looked at each other, and found that they both saw each other's eyes with admiration. They finally saw what it means to love money more than their lives. Quote. Quote. Sasori and Orochimaru of Akasago suddenly felt that Kakuzu didn't teach martial arts just now, and the incident of attacking them was not a problem. For that little money to repair the base, Kakuzu is willing to sell his life. If you love money to this point, it is no wonder that you will lie to them when you meet for the first time and exchange their heads for money. Thinking about it this way, they felt that they could understand Kakuzu's behavior. Roll. Facing Kakuzu, who looked at him eagerly, Nagato, who was silent for a while, finally responded. Boss, I'm going to kill you. 2 lives, no more. Quote. A strong struggle appeared on Kakuzu's face. He hesitated for a long time, and finally decided to increase his life. Today is a blood loss, he cannot tolerate that he has to pay for it under such circumstances. Quote. Quote. Nagato raised his right hand suddenly, then immediately put it down. This raised and lowered, and repeated several times. It's not just Kakuzu who is tangled, he is also tangled. Which link went wrong? Don't you just come out and pretend to be forced, and by the way, you can just stand up as the leader of Akatsuki. He doesn't understand it. Why does TNU pretend to be forced, and come to him frequently by accident? In the end, Nagato still didn't kill Kakuzu's 2 lives. It's not that he couldn't make the move, but Konan saw that he was in a bit awkward situation, and once again showed his ability to draw money, covering the cost of repairing the base. Not only did Nagato step down from the stage, Kakuzu patted his chest on the spot, and said arrogantly that in the future, wherever a pretty girl would be of use to him, even if she spoke, she still had to pay. After the interlude of the 3 of them at Akatsuki, Gaijin, Guasha, and interns subsided, Nagato, Yahiko, and Konan all put their minds on dealing with the 2 big shinobi villages of Konoha and Sand Shinobi. Considering that Sand Shinobi, Konoha, and the 2 behind the scenes behind the roots would act on them at any time, Nagato suspended the task of recruiting people and spent all his time digging out Rinnegan's pupils. Konan also threw all the financial work of Akatsuki to Kakuzu, and he lived in his room every day to mass-produce the detonation talisman. The busiest one is Yahiko, who has to plan for Nagato's future charter at Akatsuki, while also dealing with Rain Shinobi's various affairs, and at the same time dealing with Sand Shinobi and Konoha who come to the door at any time. Even TNU, who has rarely practiced before, has refined many katis of Chatenra without having to worry about anything, and has also learned various ninjutsu easily. Seeing that the Big 4 are busy with each other at Akatsuki, the 3 newly recruited Akatsuki members have also started their dream journey in the organization. Intern Orochimaru received a large amount of experimental materials from Akatsuki, and was busy conducting various human experiments every day. Gua Sha Master Sasori worked overtime to study the Akatsuki version of pacifists. In order to complete TNU's mission and develop the first pacifist before the end of the month, he even went so far as to team up with the most hated Orochimaru to make a pacifist. Compared with the 2, Kakuzu did much simpler. Every day I counted every consumption of the interns and Gua Sha masters, and on the basis of not completely blocking the scientific research funds of the 2, I did everything possible to reduce expenditure. If it weren't for TNU and Nagato, the 2 blue dragons and gods pressed on their heads, it is estimated that the 3 of them would not know how many times they fought for money. However, these peaceful days did not last long. After all, what should have come is here. Less than a month after TNU returned to the country of Rain, the diplomatic team sent by Konoha and Sand Shinobi had already organized a group to visit the office of Rain Shinobi village Yahiko. Konoha and Sand Shinobi have clearly reached Chen's consensus. Aburame Jawei and Baki, who are in charge of the team, will not give Yahiko any chance of wrangling once they come. They strongly order Yahiko to disband the terrorist organization Akatsuki and bring all Akatsuki members. Hand it over to the 2 big forbearance villages. In addition, Rain Shinobi must sign various terms with Konoha and Sand Shinobi and undertake a series of compensations. Obviously, Uchiha Obito finally couldn't hold back the pressure and leak the information about Akatsuki and Rain Shinobi to Namikaze Minato. Mr. Yahiko, I hope your excellency understands a little bit. This is not a discussion, but a request. Quote, in the office, Aburame looked directly at Yahiko coldly, with a cold and strong tone. Facing the leader of a village, Yahiko, when he called Yahiko, he didn't even use an adult, so he added the word, Mr. As a big country, Jonin's power is vividly displayed in him. Mr. Yahiko, you can try to refuse our kindness. But you will see what is called great power anger. At that time, we Sand Shinobi and Konoha's ninjas will step down every land in your country and talk to you slowly. Quote. When Fenkage died, Baki spoke even more aggressively. Aburame Jawei did not speak, and apparently acquiesced to what Baki said. I give you a chance to reorganize the language. Yahiko's face was sinking like water, and her index finger was quietly clenched into a fist. Great country. Da Ninja Village. Really so majestic. The condescending and domineering performance of the two reminded him of all the ravages suffered by the Kingdom of Rain during World War II, and even the bitterness and hardship of his childhood. No, that's what we mean. Either hand over Akatsuki. Either we flatten Rain Shinobi. Quote. Baki looked directly at Yahiko coldly. He didn't put the Rain Shinobi leader in the slightest. If the demigod is not hammered to death by Tianyu, he still dare not be so presumptuous. But facing the nameless Yahiko in the shinobi world, who only has the status of a Rain Shinobi leader, he didn't look at it at all. I advise Mr. Yahiko to consider our proposal seriously. It is not worth it to destroy the hard-won peace of the country of Rain for a few villains at Akatsuki. As long as you hand over the Blue Dragon at Akatsuki, the woman named Konan, and the rebel Orochimaru, Sasori of Akasago, and Kakuzu, and sign the compensation clause, the two of us can guarantee. We will not pursue Rain Shinobi Village's actions before Akatsuki. Quote. Aburame Jawei was authentic. It's just that he didn't notice that when he mentioned the two names of Qinglong and Konan, Yahiko's eyes burst out with a hideous, cold murderous intent. It seems that Uchiha Obito did not disclose Rinnegan's information. Yahiko slowly closed his eyes, then put his chin in his hands. He seemed to be thinking, and he seemed to be making a decision. A moment later, when his eyelids were raised again, only the calm and profoundness of Gujing Bubo remained in his eyes. Is that what the two of you are going to say? Faced with the pressure from the two great shinobu villages, and even the threat of war, his reaction was very calm. Yahiko's reaction made Aburame Jawei feel a bit creepy. If so, it would be appropriate as your last words. Without waiting for Aburame to think carefully, Yahiko has spoken again. Creak. As soon as his voice fell, the closed door suddenly opened, and a familiar figure was standing at the door. Qinglong. Aburame Jawei and the others looked back and found out that the person who came was actually Tianyu, and they changed their colors one after another. I seem to hear just now, the two are looking for me. Tianyu's eyes flashed with a glimpse. Conqueror's haki, which dominates the world, made the entire office walls and cracks shattered violently, crushing like a storm on Aburame Jawei and the others in a devastating posture. Except for Aburame Jawei and Baki, the other Konoha shinobi and Sand shinobi were all in a coma, lying on the cold floor of the office. Did Master Fengying face this kind of monster at the time? Baki shook his body and shook his head vigorously to prevent him from passing out. Hiss. Qinglong, what do you want to do? Aburame Jawei staggered and almost didn't kneel on the ground. Nothing, I just want to kill two people. The words of Haki, who were full of ninjas as ants, just fell. Tianyu, who was still standing at the door, had already stepped on the Garp version of the 6 styles, shave, bursting out at a shocking speed before Aburame Jawei and Baki. A Konoha's elite Jonin, the contemporary strongest of the Aburame clan. A confidant of 4th Kazekage Luo Sha, Sand Shinobi Jonin. Anyone in the shinobi world is a resounding existence. However, whether it was Aburame Jawei or Baki, both of them only felt a flower in front of them. Before the body and brain had time to make any response, their faces were already clasped by Tianyu's hands. At the same time, Conqueror's haki wrapped around his hands burst out. What a bad bug. What wind style. All the ninjutsu mastered by the two great powers Jonin had no meaning in the face of Tianyu's tyrannical and domineering Conqueror's haki. Just a face to face, the two of them vomited blood violently, their eyes turned white, like a soft-skinned snake whose whole body bones had been removed. The body was limp and lifted in the air by Tianyu one hand one by one. Qinglong, do you know what you are doing? Aburame Jawei's voice came out of Tianyu's palm with difficulty. Oh, after taking my blow, Conqueror's haki entangled, didn't you lose consciousness? As expected, Konohagakure is praised as the closest to perfect Jonin. It's really scary. Quote. Tianyu's mouth was terrible, but his tone was as calm as an ancient well. You are declaring war on Konoha and Sand Shinobi of the second of the 5 ninja villages at the same time. Aburame Chi's intermittent voice came. I think you are wrong. I did not intend to declare war on Konoha and Sand Shinobi, the two big ninja villages, I just want to neutralize Konoha. Without Konoha, Sand Shinobi's wall grass will fall to the other side before the wind blows. Quote. Tien Yu didn't change his face, and said lightly. Nuclear flat Konoha, that is something that the 4 ninja villages of the same name as Konoha dare not think. But from the Akatsuki of the Big Four, helping Konoha is just a matter of fact, isn't it enough to have a hand? After a brief discussion, but one lunchtime, the Big Four made a decision at Akatsuki and said. If Sand Shinobi and Konoha don't form a group to come home, that's good, and everyone develops peacefully. We continue to recruit people at Akatsuki, and your 2 ninja villages are free. But if the group comes to the door, there is nothing to say. He lifted the table directly and flattened Konoha, the head of the 5 ninja villages. Think about it, there will be no one hindering the recruitment at Akatsuki. Yahiko, is that what you mean too? Aburame Jawei heard Tien Yu speak the most horrible words in the most casual tone, and suddenly felt chills both physically and mentally. Tien Yu means what I mean. Forgot to tell you, I am actually the former leader of Akatsuki. Quote. Yahiko stood up and unhurriedly sorted out the messy clothes. Of course. Now, please call me Lord Yuying. Quote. Whether it was Yahiko who claimed to be the leader of Akatsuki, or the sound of Lord Rain, Aburame Jawei was shocked. Don't say the first day of the day is ahead, just say the shadow. That is only the leader of the 5 ninja villages can call it a shadow. However, now the leader of Yahiko, Rain Shinobi, is standing in front of him, arrogantly speaking. What does this mean? Can he still not know? Madman. All are a bunch of lunatics. Quote. Aburame Jawei yelled wildly in her heart. Isn't he the one who came to ask for a few Akatsuki members on behalf of Konoha? Is it necessary to lift the table with a disagreement? Don't look at him and Baki being extremely strong just now, they are in a position to force Rain Shinobi at any time. But that is just one kind of negotiation technique. Ninja World War, pull the whole body, even if Rain Shinobi Village is not the 5 big Shinobi Village, but it doesn't mean that war will start at the beginning of the war. Ahem, you, do you know that you are dragging the entire Rain Shinobi, even the country of Rain, into hell together? Konohagakure is the top of the 5 ninja villages, you don't even know what you are facing. Quote. Aburame Jawei coughed. With the worm stuffing his body, he showed amazing vitality. Oh, helping Konoha is nothing more than a hand. But you have no chance to see your picture. Quote. At the same time when Tien Yu's words sounded indifferently, he threw up the right hand holding Aburame Jawei's face door. Aburame Jawei, who is in the air, subconsciously wants to manipulate the worm to get out. However, the worms in the body left the Buddha dead, all trembling in the body without being driven by him. How so? Aburame Jawei's eyes widened in disbelief. He heard that the worms in his body that were as numerous as the stars in the sky were all sending him the same message. Surrender. He couldn't understand why he had always pointed and hid wherever he was, like an ambassador, but now he betrayed collectively and chose to surrender to the man in front of him who wanted to kill him. In the face of Aburame Jawei, who was betrayed by the worm and whose mentality was completely exploded, Tien Yu had no plans to confuse him. After all, he has never had the habit of explaining to dead people. Even if this dead man is Aburame Jawei. Finger pistol. Seeing the terrified Aburame Jawei flew to the highest point, and then fell down from midair, Tien Yu just pointed to the upper point unhurriedly. His GARP version of finger pistol did not touch Aburame Jawei's body. When he was still half a meter away from the Aburame Patriarch, the protruding index finger stopped. Scoff. There were bursts of thunder and electric flashes, and a ball of light that was visible to the naked eye burst out from the tip of his index finger, entwined with purple lightning. Immediately afterwards, the terrifying force that vented like a floodgate not only penetrated Aburame Jawei's body in the air, but also destroyed the entire ceiling above and the roof together. A terrifying scene appeared. There is no ceiling in the office, and the rain that has enveloped the entire Rain Shinobi village all the year round, even the country of Rain, has not dripped down very strangely. How strong is Tien Yu? Yahiko looked up at the pierced clouds and sky above Rain Shinobi village, his eyes filled with shock. He felt that Tien Yu's strength was simply a bottomless pit. Whenever he thinks he has a certain understanding of Tien Yu's strength, this blue dragon will show stronger power. The entire power of Tianyu he thought was just a small part of what the Qinglong in front of him deliberately let him see. Just one finger can have such great power. Orochimaru, who had just walked to the door, saw the sky pierced by Tianyu's finger, and the snake pupil suddenly burst into the fire-style-like heat. If he could witness this power before he died, he would have died well enough. Master Sasori glanced at Aburame Jiwei, who fell to the ground and broke into two corpses. How much does it cost to repair the ceiling? Kakuzu always looks at things differently from ordinary people. Tianyu, next time you do it in Rain Shinobi Village, you should just relax. Yahiko glanced at Kakuzu's painful look, amused. Obviously it is only in charge of finances, and the money is also paid out of Rain Shinobi Village, and Kakuzu does not need to pay for it. These money-increasing brothers are still a pain. It's okay, just let Kakuzu pay for it. Anyway, Conan helped him advance the money for repairing the base last time. Quote. Tianyu shrugged indifferently. Kakuzu's face changed suddenly. No kidding, this time it really hurts. It's comparable to eating a wind-style spiral shuriken from the front. Before he could file a complaint, after seeing that the members of Akatsuki had arrived, Tianyu stepped out. Under the shocking eyes of the people of Akatsuki, he transformed into a line several hundred meters long, and let the Buddha cover the sky. Qinglong. This time we have gathered all of you, and there is only one purpose. Nuclear flat Konoha. Quote. When Tianyu said this, except for Nagato, Conan, and Yahiko, the other members of Akatsuki were stunned. Obviously, when the Big Four decided to nuclear Konoha at Akatsuki, these low-level members and interns had not been notified at all. Nuhei Konoha. Kakuzu heard the words and didn't care about paying for repairs to the ceiling. Qinglong, did you say it wrong, or did we hear it wrong? Sasori of Akasha didn't expect to join Akatsuki's first mission to be so exciting. That's the top of the 5 ninja villages, Orochimaru said meaningfully. Otherwise, why should I summon you guys together? Just considering that this mission is quite difficult for you, so this time all members are dispatched. Quote. Tianyu said lightly, do you want to play a group? Kakuzu frowned. I don't know why, but when he thinks of playing a group, he feels a bit of resistance. Isn't it fragrant to single out? Sasori of Akasago also followed. He prefers heads-ups to team fights. Mr. Tianyu, it's not that I have an opinion on your words. But you also saw it. The fact of playing a group is against the traditional virtues of our organization. Quote. Orochimaru's hoarse voice also came. What is the traditional virtue of Akatsuki? If you can go heads up, you will never play a team. Even if it is a small team of 2 to perform the task, there will be waves. Not to mention Orochimaru and the 3 of them just joined. Even the former Akatsuki leader Yahiko, the current Akatsuki leader Nagato, and the rich Akatsuki woman Conan all deeply agree. Invincible group. Sorry, Akatsuki is not in this habit. No one has the courage to single-handedly challenge a group of opponents, and has no habit of flying, so embarrassed to say that he is a member of Akatsuki's organization. For those who are at Akatsuki, life and death are always easy, but difficult to fight. It seems that Zhu-jun misunderstood what I said. This mission is full of staff, yes, but it does not mean that we are going to form a group. You only need to do your own thing. Quote. Tianyu shook his head. As Akatsuki Qinglong, how could he take the lead in destroying the glorious tradition of Akatsuki? Just don't play a group. It is clear that the enemy is Konoha, the head of the 5 ninja villages, but after hearing that there is no need to fight in a group, the Sasori of the Red Sands all showed a relieved expression. Letting the Buddha let them play in a group is like bullying Konohagakure. Set off. With a wave of Tianyu's dragon claws, clouds appeared in the dim sky. When Nagato, Conan and others looked at it, their eyes suddenly brightened. Without any hesitation, except for Yahiko who stayed at the base camp, all the members of Akatsuki jumped up and stepped on the clouds made by Tianyu. Fire Country. Konohagakure. Twilight hour. Just after returning home from get-off work in the Hokage office, Namikaze Minato suddenly felt an unexplained heart palpitation. Let him involuntarily look towards the direction of the country of rain. What's wrong with me? Is it because I think too much about Akatsuki recently? Quote. Namikaze Minato quickly recovered. This mission is led by Jiwei, and I have nothing to worry about. Thinking that the person leading the team was Aburame Jawei, the calm and steady group of Jonin, who was originally a little nervous, he immediately felt relieved. Slap. But just as he just replaced that beloved royal god robe, there was a sudden knock on the door outside the door. "It's you, Jahei. Is there anything going on looking for me at this time?" Quote. Namikaze Minato raised his brows slightly, and when he opened the door, he found a man with sunglasses standing at the door. The person here is the legend of the Aburame clan. A Konoha Jonin who can manipulate nano-level poisonous insects to fight. Master Hokage, the patriarch, dead. Aburame Jahei's expression was as calm as usual, but his tone of voice revealed a trace of anger. "Ji Wei is dead. How are you sure?" Quote. Namikaze Minato's sapphire eyes shrank sharply. He was the one who sent Aburame Jawei to the land of rain. Counting the time, no matter how slow Aburame Jawei is, he should be at Rain Shinobi Village at this time. In that case, the person who killed Aburame Jawei was Rain Shinobi, or is it Akatsuki? But he really couldn't understand. How dare Akatsuki? The patriarch cultivated a special kind of bug. They are two pairs, symbiotic. Usually one is stored in the clan chief, and the other is placed in the clan. No matter how far apart the two insects are, as long as one of them dies, the other will die within a day. Just half an hour ago, the bug placed in the clan died. Quote. Aburame Shigero's words made Namikaze Minato's heart sink to the bottom. He also knew a little about the secret techniques of the Aburame clan. Especially the people of the Aburame clan have always been calm and steady. Patriarch Aburame Jawei is like this, and Aburame Jahei in front of him is no exception. Since Aburame Jahei said this to him, it must have been confirmed repeatedly. Check. No matter what method I use, I must know that it was Jawei's death. Quote. Namikaze Minato was silent for a few seconds, and the sun-like smile that was usually on his lips had disappeared. First Kakashi and Nanoyu, followed by Shiwei. Akatsuki, in the eyes of you people, what do you think of Konoha Shinobi? Quote. His eyes gradually became sharp, just like his flying thunder god Kanai. Although he asked Aburame Jahei to investigate, what he actually knew was that Akatsuki did it. Only the organization that specializes in rebels dared to kill Konoha's Jonin unscrupulously. Yes, Aburame Jahei felt the powerful aura emanating from Namikaze Minato, and his heart was stunned. But just when he was about to retreat, a huge shadow fell from the sky and enveloped the two people's heads, making their eyes dark. What it is? It seems like a dragon. There are people beside that dragon. Suddenly, huge shadows shrouded not only Namikaze Minato and Aburame Jahei, but also the streets of Konohagakure. The civilians in the village and the ninjas who came and went, when they looked up, they saw a blue dragon that was bigger than the tail beast. At the same time, burning red clouds hovered beside Qinglong. Above every red cloud, stood a member in a uniform at Akatsuki. Seeing this scene, anyone who knows Konoha Shinobi's information about Akatsuki, without exception, has a horrified thought in his heart. At Akatsuki, Konoha Airborne. Is this a big ninja village in the ninja world? Konan, who came to Konoha for the first time, stepped on the red clouds and looked down at Konoha. To correct this wrong world, start here. Nagato's hands hidden in the sleeves slowly stretched out, and a pair of Rinnegan gradually exuded terrifying pupil pressure. He kept meditating in his heart. A bag of rice to carry several floors, a bag of rice to resist the second floor, a bag of rice to give too much. This will be used later. In order to avoid forgetting the lines, he had to make more preparations. I didn't expect to be back here so soon. Orochimaru looked at Konohagakure below, and the snake's eyes flashed with a complex light. He wanted to know whether this gust of wind caused by Qinglong caused Konoha to rotate faster, or would it directly destroy the entire windmill. Where is Nine-Tails Jinchuriki? Kakuzu's green eyes looked around. Before coming, Tianyu gave him a task. Find and catch Nine-Tails Jinchuriki Uzumaki Kushina. With his temperament, he definitely wouldn't be so active. However, the price of the pretty girl is too high. At this price, let alone the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, Uzumaki Kushina. Legend has it that the ninja said that even the god of ninja Senju Hashirama would dare to challenge it again. Konoha. Sasori looked at the villagers below, Konoha Shinobi, and his calm eyes flashed with murderous intent. His parents were all killed by Konoha shinobi. Today he is going to be a filial son, using Konoha to comfort his parents' spirit in heaven. Akatsuki. Qinglong. Facing the daybreak sky group that suddenly dropped by air, Namikaze Minato's gaze only stopped for a while at Nagato, Konan, and Kakuzu, and then stopped on Tianyu, the blue dragon entrenched in the sky above Konoha. If the information is correct, the most powerful person at Akatsuki is not the leader, but the blue dragon. When we first meet, you are Konoha's shadow. Tianyu transformed into a blue dragon and looked down at Namikaze Minato. In the face of this fourth Hokage, who is not the strongest, but definitely the most beautiful, his eyes are as domineering, scowling, and even disdainful as always. Fufu, the most beautiful Hokage in Konoha's history, is nothing in his eyes. Yes, I am Konoha's fourth Hokage. Namikaze Minato met Tianyu without fear. But for the first time seeing Tianyu's body of the blue dragon, he also set off stormy waves in his heart. Among the tail beasts he has seen, only 9 tails in full form have this size. The body shape of other tail beasts is far not as huge as Tianyu's transformed azure dragon. Then I didn't find the wrong person. When Tianyu saw Namikaze Minato should be, the corner of his mouth raised. Have nothing to say. Now that the right person is found, the meeting between the king and the king is of course to say hello to show respect. Can't answer the greeting. I'm sorry, you are not qualified to talk to me, just go to quit the king's addiction. Boom. As Tianyu thought, with his body as the center, Conqueror's haki poured down like a hurricane. The violent and domineering Conqueror's haki not only crushed Namikaze Minato fiercely, it made the most beautiful Hokage feel the spiritual oppression he had never experienced before, and it also made the streets, walls and trees affected by Conqueror's haki crack. The Konoha shinobi who came from all directions, who set foot in the shrouded area of Conqueror's haki and whose mental energy was lower than Jonin, would be hit hard, and instantly fainted to the ground. Is this the Conqueror's haki mentioned in Danzo's intelligence? This kind of power is simply unreasonable. Ninjas below Jonin, unless they have special aptitudes, can't hold on to even a face-to-face encounter. Quote. Namikaze Minato saw Konoha shinobi around him and villagers who were too late to escape and fell to the ground. His pupils were suddenly full of dignity. After experiencing the shock of Tianyu's Conqueror's haki firsthand, and seeing the surrounding villagers and the situation of Konoha shinobi, he immediately analyzed a lot of useful information. For ninjas below Jonin, unless they have special qualifications, their spiritual energy is simply not enough to resist Tianyu's Conqueror's haki. In other words, the Konoha shinobi who is lower than Jonin will not be of any use in the next battle. If you forcibly come to support you, you will be lost here in vain. Go ahead and all the Konoha shinobi below Jonin will protect the villagers from retreating. Notify the Jonin class, gather together. Every ninja family, gather together. Open the barrier and block the entire Konoha. Today I want a member of Akatsuki and I can't get out of Konoha. Seeing the power of Conqueror's haki, Namikaze Minato was as calm as a machine when faced with Akatsuki when a few people dared to airborne Konoha. Orders one by one were delivered to Konoha Anbu hidden nearby. What a great official, Naruto-sama. If you are asked to do Naruto for a few more years, are you afraid that Sage of Six Paths will not even be in your eyes? Quote. After Tianyu heard Namikaze Minato's order, instead of stopping, he looked at the most beautiful Hokage with a smile. He really admired Namikaze Minato. Leave at Akatsuki. Make it impossible for a member of Akatsuki to leave Konoha. How dare it? Of course I won't look at it anymore. Sage of Six Paths is respected in the heart. Besides, didn't I learn from you? Speaking of this official prestige, my fourth Hokage can't compare to your Akatsuki dragon. First, I killed my disciple Hatake Kakashi and Yakushi Nanoyu, and then recruited Mikano Hagakure to rebel Orochimaru, and today you also killed Konoha Jonin Aburame, who was sent to Rain Shinobi Village. The number of Konoha shinobi who died directly or indirectly in your hands has exceeded the number of double tens. I really want to know how much you look down on me in your eyes, Namikaze Minato, Konoha 4th Hokage, so that people at Akatsuki will see me as if Konohagakure's ninjas slaughter like dogs and dogs. Quote. Namikaze Minato directly pushed it over. In the usual way, with his humble and polite character, even in the face of the enemy, he would not say such haughty, stubborn words. But Tianyu, this Akatsuki dragon is really too arrogant and overbearing. It was not enough to kill his disciple Hatake Kakashi and Yakushi Nanoyu. He even dared to kill the ninja team he sent to Rain Shinobi Village. Let's not talk about other Konoha shinobi, just talk about Aburame Jiwei. That's his brother Namikaze Minato, his life and death. Unexpectedly, he would die silently in the hands of people like Tien-Yu at Akatsuki. Don't misunderstand me, I'm not targeting you, Naruto-sama, but all of you Konoha shinobi here are happy. The corner of Tien-Yu's mouth twitched slightly, and with a smile on his face, he said something that made the Konoha shinobi who heard the news from all directions extremely angry. Who do you think is happy? After learning about the death of his childhood friend Kakashi, Sarutobi Asuma, who had rushed back from the daimyo of the Country of Fire, saw Tien-Yu when he was already an enemy and he was extremely jealous. Now I see Tien-Yu attacking Konohagakure with a group of villains at Akatsuki, and still openly regard all Konoha shinobi as amusement. This judo blogger, no, is the son of third Hokage and can no longer hold back the murderous intention in his heart. Fire-style ash burn. In a rage, driven by the killing intent in his heart, Sarutobi Asuma jumped forward, roaring Jayin, and then raised his mouth to the sky to spit out a burst of flame smoke at the huge body of Tien-Yu. Namikaze Minato saw Sarutobi Asuma take an angry shot, but did not stop it. Instead, he glanced at the guards beside him without a trace. Asuma, we are here to help you. Without knowing the fire secrets and their similarities, the three of Yamashiro Aoba immediately understood the meaning of Namikaze Minato. In addition to protecting Sarutobi Asuma, the son of Naruto, there is also to detect the information of Akatsuki members as low as possible. After all, what a ninja is fighting is an intelligence war. Unless the strength gap is too large, detailed intelligence can still play a huge role in battle. Fire-style Great Fireball Technique. Lightning-style Thunder. Wind-style Breakthrough. The three of them flashed to the side of Sarutobi Asuma, then performed ninjutsu and cooperated with Asuma to attack Tien-Yu. Don't use the magic spells that are lower than the S-level profound meanings to show their ugliness. Facing the siege of Sarutobi Asuma, Shiranui Genma and others, Tien-Yu didn't even lift his eyelids. Don't look at these special Jonin's lightning style, wind style, and fire style, but the actual output is not as good as the one that Kuo Ying Danzo used to stab him. But having said that, he still didn't want to be caught by some pungent, unpleasant soot. How can you harass our king as soon as you come? However, before Tien-Yu took the shot, Nagato snorted coldly, and took the lead in flying up from the clouds, and took the initiative to fly in front of the ninjutsu performed by Sarutobi Asuma and others. Shen Luo Tianzhong. I saw Nagato lift it up with one hand, and he didn't use the connecting seal. A powerful repulsive force has already rushed out, and instantly bounced all the ninjutsu in front of him and crushed them. Those eyes, or Rinnegan. Isn't that the eyes that only exist in myths and legends? How can they appear in reality? Akatsuki is simply a group of monsters. First the blue dragon in the myth appears, and now there is a pair of Rinnegan in the myth. As soon as Nagato shot, Namikaze Minato and others immediately noticed the abnormality in his eyes. Everyone who stared at him, without exception, felt the extreme oppression. Rinnegan's pupil pressure constantly exuded, making every Konoha shinobi present feel distraught. It's already time, Danzo still has something to hide. Is he still plotting Rinnegan's idea? Quote, Namikaze Minato's face is a bit ugly. He was indeed surprised at Akatsuki, but he was not disturbed. Because he had already obtained detailed information on every member of Akatsuki from Danzo. In his opinion, although Akatsuki is strong, except for Qinglong Tianyu, everyone else is still within the range that can be handled. But when he found that Danzo did not provide any information from Rinnegan, he was immediately frightened and angry. How can these illusory objects that only exist in myths emerge one by one from the organization of Akatsuki? How many members like Qinglong and Rinnegan still exist in Akatsuki? Quote, when Sarutobi Asuma thought of this, he suddenly struck a spirit all over his body. He saw that Rinnegan of Nagato had been eyeing him. Universal pull. Sure enough, I saw Nagato stretch out his hand at him condescendingly. What kind of power is this? Sarutobi Asuma's face changed drastically. In front of universal pull, all the spells he mastered became meaningless. The irresistible gravitational force can only pull him from the ground into the air, flying all the way towards Nagato. Not only him, but the Shiranui Genma who had just shot were also rolled up by gravity. Can the pupil technique of gravitation and repulsion be manipulated unscrupulously? And it's Muji ninjutsu. Quote, seeing this scene, Namikaze Minato finally couldn't sit still. As fourth Hokage, he showed the fastest demeanor in the ninja world as soon as he shot. He stepped out, and the person had disappeared in place, returned to the house behind him, and then put on the imperial robe he had just replaced at an astonishing speed. After the change was completed, he was teleporting between the sparks and flints, appearing beside Sarutobi Asuma out of thin air. Rasengan. With a scream, Namikaze Minato had already held Rasengan and printed it on Nagato's head. From shooting, changing clothes, to Rasengan, the whole process is not too many steps, but if other ninjas do this, Sarutobi Asuma can be carried to Barry. As the number one person in the ninja world, and a master of time management, the golden flash that shows every second of time shows that he is comfortable and has everything under his control. Brother, no wonder you and I will practice under the same teacher. It turns out that you and I are the same kind of people. Quote, before I saw Namikaze Minato save the lives, I didn't forget to change clothes first. Nagato's Rinnegan suddenly lit up. He knows that Namikaze Minato is just like him, he is a scene person, dare to use other people's life to show operations. When the brothers met for the first time, Nagato, who was deeply moved and decided to kill each other personally, to show respect to the brothers. Beast Road. It's too late to say, then it's fast. Although many thoughts flashed through Nagato's mind, there was never a moment's pause in the movements of his hands. Facing Namikaze Minato's Rasengan, his shoulder suddenly extended an arm, and then under Namikaze Minato's surprised gaze, he stretched out his hand to Rasengan. In the next second, Rasengan in his hand had been absorbed. Puff! At the same time, Nagato raised his left hand and shot a black stick in his palm, which was about to stab Namikaze Minato in an instant. Can't be touched by this thing. Namikaze Minato's pupils shrank. At the critical moment, he dodged with the Flying Thunder God technique jumping space. But he can go, but the four of Sarutobi Asuma can't. If I remember correctly, you should be the son of third Hokage. When Konoha's ninjas invaded the country of rain, they entered the house and killed my parents without asking why. At that time, it was third Hokage. Then I will kill him, Sarutobi Hiruzen, a son, it makes sense. Quote. Nagato's calm words exuded a terrifying murderous intent. No wonder the leader is as good as I am. It turns out that we all have the same background. Akasha no Sasori's heart was touched, and he couldn't help muttering to himself. Just as good. The same life experience. The same are the people of Akatsuki. He didn't even notice it himself. Because of Nagato's words, he had an inexplicable sense of belonging to Akatsuki. Nagato is also a dead parent. Coincidentally, Orochimaru on the side also uttered a similar sigh. Hearing this, Nagato nailed the four Sarutobi Asuma to the clouds with a few black sticks in his backhand, then turned his head to look at Orochimaru and Sasori of the Red Sand. The three of them glanced at each other, their expressions were a little weird. After a while, the three of them unexpectedly spoke together. Intern, your parents are dead too. Gua Sha, your parents are gone. Sasori, Orochimaru, your parents are also alive. As soon as these words came out, the three of them were silent at the same time. A strange atmosphere began to spread between the three of them. Obviously this is an extremely thrilling battle, but as the life experiences of the three of Nagato have been exposed one after another, and even after they are highly consistent, whether it is TNU and the Akatsuki members, or the Konoha shinobi from Namikaze Minato, their expressions gradually change. Get subtle. What a coincidence. At this moment, Kakuzu, who has been searching for Uzumaki Kushina with green eyes since the airborne Konoha, suddenly said. Kakuzu, have your parents ever died? Nagato, Sasori of the Red Sand, Orochimaru suddenly turned their heads and stared at Kakuzu. Although this look was a bit impolite, when they looked at Kakuzu, there was a faint expectation in their eyes. Hey, what are your eyes? I'm over 90 years old, and still have my parents never died. Long before I challenged the ninja god, my parents were killed by the Konoha shinobi. Quote. Although Kakuzu's tone was flat, he was a little less guarded and unfamiliar than before. There is even a kind of intimacy that is also the same as the world's fallen people. It's Konoha shinobi again. Tianyu looked at several people in Nagato, and then at Namikaze Minato, another Konoha shinobi, whose complexion gradually became unsightly. His expression also changed to a smile. Chief Nagato, Jachian J. Kakuzu, Guasha Master Sasori, and intern Orochimaru, among the 4 Akatsuki members whose parents have died, 3 of their parents who died at the hands of Konoha shinobi. No wonder that whether it is the original drama or now, Akatsuki is so wrong with Konoha. That, although it's a bit old, I still vaguely remember that my parents died at the hands of Konoha shinobi. Just when Namikaze Minato planned to take this opportunity to quietly rescue the 4 of Sarutobi Asuma, he suddenly heard Conan's cold voice. Namikaze Minato's action to save people suddenly froze, and his expression became more subtle. Another parent died at the hands of Konoha shinobi. At this moment, he found the raging anger on his chest at Akatsuki. Suddenly it couldn't be ignited. There were 6 members of Akatsuki, 5 dead parents, 4 dead parents were killed by Konoha shinobi, and 3 of them were killed by Konoha shinobi during Sarutobi Hiruzen's reign. It's really a crime. During Sarutobi Hiruzen's reign, the ninjas in the village were the parents of how many children killed and how many families were destroyed, so that almost every member of the Akatsuki organization's parents would be unhealthy. Thinking about it this way, Namikaze Minato felt that Sarutobi Hiruzen was really not a good thing. Even as 4th Hokage, he wanted to dismantle the Shinobu village under his feet. So does Sarutobi Asuma save, or not? This mission is over, go back for a drink. Nagato looked at the members of Akatsuki in front of him, and the majestic and sublime Rinnegan was rarely soft. In the past, he would only show such eyes when he was in front of Tianyu, Konan, and Yahiko. Count me in. Add 1 more. Faced with Nagato's proposal, Master Sasori agreed without thinking. A wonderful thing called cohesion shrouded the entire Akatsuki Day group for an unprecedented time. Nothing else, just because everyone has the same background. Boss, get rid of this smoker. I'm tired of watching it. If you think killing him dirty your hands, then I can do it for you. Quote. According to what Nagato said just now, Master Sasori also thought that although his parents were killed by Konoha Whitetooth, they also died during Sarutobi Hiruzen's reign. It just so happened that White Fang committed suicide and Kakashi was killed by Orochimaru. Master Sasori, who has the strength but couldn't find an enemy to kill, immediately felt that Sarutobi Asuma was not pleasing to the eye. He was unspeakably bored from hair to toes. No need. Nagato did not hesitate to reject Master Sasori. He is the same as Master Sasori. The enemy is also nowhere to be found. So I had to put the entire account on Sarutobi and his son. Call out. After speaking, Nagato raised his right hand. There is a thumbtack with the same substance as the black stick between each finger. Immediately after a burst of sound, 4 thumbtacks were shot at Sarutobi Asuma like bullets, and they were exactly the same as the 4. Not good. Namikaze Minato took a look and immediately stepped forward to save people. Regardless of whether Sarutobi Asuma can be saved, he must save the 3 of Shiranui Genma. In any case, it is also his Hokage guards. What makes you have this illusion that makes you think you can save people in front of me? Just before Namikaze Minato rushed in front of Sarutobi Asuma and others with a very fast instant technique, and then used the Flying Thunder God technique to lead a few people into the space, Tianyu's Dragon Claw was already covering the sky and the sun. Crush it down. There are people who are faster than me in the ninja world. Namikaze Minato's blue eyes flashed with unbelief, but the menacing finger pistol didn't allow him to think about it. In an emergency, this man interprets what is called the most beautiful Hokage by operating at his own limit. I saw him standing in place, but a Flying Thunder God Kuwu had been thrown out by his left hand and floated to Tianyu's side. With Flying Thunder God, there is no synchronization, and naturally he has a speed faster than light. Flying Thunder God's second paragraph. In an instant, Namikaze Minato avoided Tianyu's finger pistol, teleported behind Tianyu, and then pierced the back of Tianyu's head with Flying Thunder God. Click. However, this extreme operation is indeed as fierce as a tiger. But looking at the output, it was extremely embarrassing. Because after he injected wind-style chakra in his hand, it was invincible, even wind-style flying thunder god, which can be easily cut off by the tail of Eight-Tails Gyuki. Not only did it leave a mark on the back of Tien Yu's head, no, even flying thunder god Kwangwu broke down on the spot. Do you Konoha's shadow have the habit of kunai dragons? Tien Yu's eyes were full of playful colors and moved slightly upward, and his gaze fell on Namikaze Minato above his head. First Konoha nabeing Danzo, then to 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato. He was really curious about where the confidence of these shadows came from, so that they actually performed the feat of a dragon without tattoos one by one. What a terrible body this is. Namikaze Minato's mind was shaking, and a touch of amazement appeared in his eyes. He has seen many ninjas with superb physiques. For example, the brash man at Cloud Shinobi Village. He had educated each other at an absolute speed back then. But the physique is strong enough to exist like Tien Yu's unthinkable, he is really unheard of. No wonder 4th Kazekage Luo Sha would die in the hands of Tien Yu, the blue dragon. In the brief encounter just now, he could already imagine how frustrated Luo Sha was in the battle before his death. Master Hokage, it's not a good thing to be distracted during battle. Of course, at your speed, you can barely be distracted. But 3rd Hokage's son, and your guards are not necessarily so. Quote. Suddenly, Tien Yu's playful voice sounded. Asuma. Namikaze Minato was anxious, and when he was about to use Flying Thunder God technique to jump over Tien Yu to save people, 4 rapid, stern, but extremely short screams have been introduced into his ears. When he jumped into space and came to Sarutobi Asuma and the others, a blood hole had appeared between the 4 of them. Obviously, when he habitually used the lives of others to show off, Nagato had already beaten the brains of Sarutobi Asuma. Asuma, the late Sarutobi Hiruzen just saw the scene of his son's corpse on the spot. This scene made the retired shinobi deeply saddened, but at the same time a long-lost murderous intent broke out in his heart. Akatsuki, the old man swears today in the name of 3rd Hokage that you will be buried in Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen roared, then bit his finger and pressed forward. Summoning technique. As a white mist curled up, a burly, but slightly old, white-haired ape had appeared beside him. This is Azure Dragon, and Rinnegan. The monkey demon was startled when summoning came over. What kind of evil did Konoha do? He could actually offend these myths that only existed in legends at the same time. Ape demon, help me. Sarutobi Hiruzen growled bitterly. It is good. Having seen the tragic death of Sarutobi Asuma, Saruma also understands why Sarutobi Hiruzen is so angry. He turned into a King Kong wishful stick without saying a word. Akatsuki villain, die to me. Sarutobi Hiruzen held the King Kong wishful stick in his hand, and his short, slightly old body immediately burst into a moving and powerful aura. At this moment, he is no longer Hokage for the elderly, but the powerful shinobi of the past. Call out. I saw that he held the right hand of the King Kong wishful stick and lifted it up. The King Kong wishful stick in his hand was wrapped in a strong wind and reached Nagato's face. Chian. But before Nagato could take a shot, a Kusunaru sword that revealed a terrifying edge had broken through the air. Before the King Kong wishful stick hit Nagato, he stabbed the King Kong wishful stick steadily with the sword's edge. When the swords and sticks collided, an astonishing shock wave spread immediately. Orochimaru you. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Orochimaru, who was holding the Kusunaru sword, facing him in awe. Did he not know that Orochimaru betrayed Konoha and became an intern at Akatsuki? But what he never expected was that after the Akatsuki of the people killed Sarutobi Asuma, the first person to stop himself from avenging his son turned out to be his favorite disciple. Ms. Sarutobi, please be sorry. Orochimaru calmly looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen with an angry face. Orochimaru, have you fallen so far? Sarutobi Hiruzen is heartbroken again, and angry again. Ms. Sarutobi, what reason do I have to stop a man from taking revenge? Orochimaru's face didn't change color, and the Buddha couldn't see Sarutobi Hiruzen's complicated and painful expression. Early in the competition for 4th Hokage, he failed. As early as Mr. Sarutobi chose Namikaze Minato, but when he didn't choose him, he had already decided to cut everything. This rotten and dirty village will only hinder his pursuit of dreams. Sarutobi Hiruzen will only affect his speed at drawing his sword. You, Orochimaru, have you reached this point? For Konoha, the old man must kill you today. Quote. Sarutobi Hiruzen closed his eyes in pain. A few seconds later, when he opened it again, the entanglement, sorrow, and pain were no longer in his eyes, and some were just resolute. Konoha's situation does not allow him to have a trace of kindness. Miss Sarutobi, leave it to me. Coincidentally, Orochimaru thought so too. Kill Sarutobi Hiruzen and completely cut off all the fetters of the past. Fire style Fire Dragon Flare. Earth style Earth Dragon Ball technique. The two masters and apprentices glanced at each other, and they both acted at the same time between murderous flashes. Fire style, Earth style, Lightning style, 5 mainstream ninjutsu with changing natures swayed freely in the hands of the two, attacking each other. Found it. Kakuzu's blue eyes showed a hint of joy, and then flew down from the clouds, and overturned the two who came to support the special Jonin, and then killed in the direction of Hokage Rock. Kushina, his goal is 9 tails. Namikaze Minato saw Kakuzu's whereabouts and immediately reacted. Super Expansion Jutsu. With a bang, a giant 50 meters high appeared in front of Kakuzu, and then the giant raised his hand with a punch, blasting him out like a cannonball. The person here is amazingly Akamaiki to get the wind. One of the disciples of second Hokage Senju Tobirama in the past. Lightning style ready. Knock down that blue dragon completely from the air. It was not only Akamaiki who came to help, but also members of the major ninja families and Konoha Anbu who heard the news from all directions. With the information of Namikaze Minato. These ninjas who came to support are without exception, starting with the special Jonin. Lightning style Thunder. Under the command of Nara Shikuhisa, rows of special Jonin class Konoha shinobi surrounded Tianyu from all directions. Boom! With a deafening roar, hundreds of thunder and lightning fell from the sky, all hitting Tianyu. The huge thunder light instantly swallowed Tianyu's body. Even if it is a tail beast, the lightning style that bears this scale frontally can't move for a while. Seeing this, Namikaze Minato flew up abruptly, pressing one hand on Tianyu's body of the blue dragon. Seal of the 4 elephants. The seal of the 5 elements. 8 sign seal. In an instant, he hit Tianyu one by one with several Uzumaki seal techniques that he had improved. Has the seal been blocked? Akamaiki Ding Zuo stared at Tianyu. It can't be taken lightly. This dragon can't even restrain 4th Hokage Luasha's sealing techniques. Quote. Nara Luju turned her head and screamed. Seal class. After learning about Tianyu's existence, Konoha had already formulated a series of tactics against Tianyu. Same as the tail beast. The best way to deal with Qinglong is to seal. Regarding this, Namikaze Minato was even more convinced of this idea after experiencing the physique of Tianyu that was even more terrifying than the tail beast. Seal up. The sealed ninja, who was already ready to go, immediately stepped forward. Strips of white cloth rose up into the sky. In a short moment, Tianyu, the Qinglong hundreds of meters long, was tied into a mummy dragon. Chapter 71. Successful. Seeing this, all Konoha shinobi present showed a relieved expression. From the known information, Qinglong stands on top of all members of Akatsuki. The beginning of the game restrained the peak combat power of Akatsuki, and he was the most destructive one. Even the calm Nara Luju showed a little smile in his eyes. Solve the strongest Qinglong, and then we will go to Rinnegan. Namikaze Minato looked at Nagato floating in the air. Compared to the Akatsuki dragon, this Akatsuki Rinnegan is more mysterious. Konoha has no information about Rinnegan so far. Resolved Tianyu. Rinnegan of Nagato showed a touch of sarcasm. Namikaze Minato's words, letting the Buddha go, is the funniest joke he has ever heard in his life. What is it that makes you able to say such ignorant things, brother? Nagato looked down at Namikaze Minato from a high position. What do you mean by this? Namikaze Minato's heart jumped, the corner of his eyes involuntarily turned towards Tianyu, who was tied into a mummy and bound in the air without any movement. I once said that only Tianyu can stop me in the world. This sentence in turn means that no one can stop Tianyu except me. Quote. Nagato paused word by word, and the words full of confidence made Namikaze Minato and the others, who thought they had sealed the blue dragon, feel uneasy. Is it true that even this level of seal can't seal him? Namikaze Minato, Nara Luju and other Konoha shinobi involuntarily raised their heads to look at Tianyu. Is Qinglong really sealed? Of course it is impossible. Although Nagato is pretending to be coercive, he is right. Regardless of the lightning style, Namikaze Minato's seal, or the seal of the seal class, Tianyu didn't rest assured. He is completely focused on other things. He simply didn't even bother to hide, and directly let the overwhelming lightning style seal on him. System, sign in Konoha. Yes, Tianyu is signing in. For Konohagakure, the head of the 5 ninja villages, he has long been looking forward to it. Even signing into Rain Shinobi Village got an amazing reward. Carrying the lifeblood of ninja, Konohagakure, who has countless genuine and brilliant achievements, is sure to sign Konoha for the reward, even he is surprised. Successfully signed into Konohagakure, congratulations to the host for getting the reward, Whitebeard template 100% completion. Successfully signed into Konohagakure. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a special reward, the Don Quixote da Flamingo template 100% completion. This template is a special character template. The host can choose to use it by itself or give it to full members of Akatsuki. Although Tianyu was mentally prepared before signing to Konohagakure, this check-in is bound to bring him a huge surprise. But when the system smashed the sign-in reward on his head, he still felt dizzy and completely immersed in great ecstasy. This is also the case that he was floating motionless in midair, allowing Namikaze Minato and other Konoha shinobi to perform wildly on him. It took a while before he came back to his senses that he completely ignored the seal on his body and opened the Whitebeard template by himself. Host, Tianyu. Sign in time, 10 years. Sign in location, Rain Country, Rain Shinobi Village, Wind Country, Fire Country, Konohagakure. People who sign in at Akatsuki: Nagato, Konan, Uchiha Obito, Black White Zetsu, Kakuzu, Sasori, Orochimaru. Character template: 4 Emperor's Whitebeard 100% completion. Devil Fruit. Shock Fruit Awakened. Hockey. Armament Hockey Top Class Observation Hockey Premium Conqueror's Hockey Super Top Class. From this look, Tianyu found that not only was Conqueror's Hockey all activated, but the level of Conqueror's Hockey was even higher than that of Kaido template Conqueror's Hockey. In addition, the already activated Shock Fruit has also awakened. The Whitebeard template with a degree of completion of 30%, which is full of readings at once, becomes a degree of 100% completion, which is already enough to surprise people. However, Konoha really deserves to be Konoha. Even Kakuzu's record of full water content, the system is convinced, and give high rewards. Not to mention Konohagakure, which is truly the first of the 5 ninja villages. Sign in Konoha. In addition to regular sign-in rewards, there are special sign-in rewards. This made him feel unexpected. Special character template: Don Quixote da Flamingo 100% completion. Devil Fruit. String Fruit Awakened. Hockey. Armament Hockey Advanced Observation Hockey Intermediate Conqueror's Hockey Intermediate. How to use. Host can be used by yourself, or you can choose to give it to full members of Akatsuki. Sign-in rewards are nothing to report. Only helping Konoha. Let's talk about it. Quote. After retracting his gaze at the Don Quixote da Flamingo template, Tianyu finally remembered his situation. Glancing at the dense seals and the lightning style that he had just hacked, he decided not to care about them at all. However, the wave of signing Konoha is a bit heavy. After some consideration, he decided to use the reward for signing Konoha to verify Konoha. Only in this way can we express our feelings. Otherwise, he is afraid that his thoughts will be inadequate and will not sleep soundly tonight. Whitebeard at its peak. Let me feel how strong this power really is. A movement of Tianyu's heart is enough to dissolve the shock of all materials, like a raging sea surging out from every place in the body of the blue dragon. Click. The seal that bound him into a mummy burst into countless cloth scraps without even holding a single face. Pinnacle Lao Bai. No longer stand output. He finally felt how strong this strength was. Broken. Namikaze Minato's pupils tightened, and the handsome face suddenly became a bit ugly. Is it impossible to seal him for a second with so many seals? Naraluji. Yamanaka Hayi Konoha Jonin looked cold in his hands and feet. Except for 9 tails, the other 8 big-tailed beasts can be completely imprisoned. Since the seal can't work, then I will hold Qinglong. You hurry up and smash the other members of Akatsuki one by one. Quote. Namikaze Minato took a deep breath and quickly returned to calm. He knows that anyone can be discouraged, but as fourth Hokage he can't express this kind of emotion. What's more, the current situation is not yet desperate. Sasori of the Red Sand, we are the pig deer butterfly to deal with. Akamaiki Dingza glanced at Nagato and Konan. The feeling they gave him was much stronger than that of Sasori of Akasha. Especially Nagato, who owns Rinnegan, even if it is just a confrontation, he feels a lot of pressure. The Akatsuki member named Konan is handed over to our Hyuga family to deal with. At this time, Hyuga Hiyashi, who finally led the people from the Hyuga family home, said immediately, "If fourth generation can trust Uchiha, then Rinnegan will be solved by us." Uchiha Fugaku, who has many pink eyes behind him, also said. The relationship between the major ninja families and the Konoha executives was almost freezing, different from that of the third generation in power. Namikaze Minato, fourth Hokage, has a short period of time, but whether it is the extreme Hyuga or the per capita neurotic Uchiha, he has a good relationship with him. In the future, Orochimaru launches Konoha's collapse plan, stabbing Sarutobi Hiruzen to death, and the major ninja families have just been dispatched. But now Namikaze Minato gave an order: even if a powerful enemy came, the patriarchs of the ninja family, such as Pig Deer Butterfly, Uchiha, Hyuga, etc., immediately responded with all arms and horses. Don't be too forced, Chief Fugaku. That is Rinnegan after all. This pair of eyes is the same as Sage of Six Paths, who doesn't know how terrible pupil skills are hidden. You can hold him. Once I or the other patriarchs vacate their hands, they will come to support you immediately. Quote. Namikaze Minato saw Fugaku, Hiyashi and others who were all committed, and immediately expressed concern. Don't underestimate Uchiha. Uchiha Fugaku's mouth was cold and arrogant, but his heart was warm. This man is really different from Sarutobi Hiruzen. He really trusted Uchiha instead of constantly consuming it in the presence of tools. Qinglong, you have seen it too. Konoha, which has been standing on the top of the ninja world since the establishment of first generation, is not something that evil organizations like Akatsuki can contend with. The only way to survive before you Akatsuki is to surrender. Quote. Seeing Konoha shinobi, Isshin, Namikaze Minato felt more confident than ever. You mean Konoha is justice and Akatsuki is evil? Tien glanced at Uchiha Fugaku and others, then couldn't deny it. Good. You should be thankful that Konoha is a shinobu village that longs for peace and believes in justice. But the desire for peace does not mean fear of war. If you are still stubborn and continue to start wars wantonly, then I will be your opponent. Quote. Namikaze Minato said every word. Brother, you are not worthy to start with our king. As for the Konoha shinobi behind you, in my opinion, they are just selling the first bid. Just rely on my super. Nagato smiled disdainfully, and then he was about to step forward to grab the C position, and when he was forced to pretend to be forced, he was quickly stopped by Tien-Yu's eyesight. It's okay, Nagato. No matter whether the dust removed is 1 or 2, there is no difference at all. Quote. Tien-Yu shook his head, and the dragon claw lifted lightly. Want to grab his C position? Want to force a wall? Non-existent. Boom. As the dragon claw raised by Tien-Yu pressed downwards, the atmosphere and the land in a radius of 100 meters, kilometers, and even thousands of meters began to vibrate violently. Click. Faced with the shock that was enough to destroy the island, Konoha's streets and houses quickly extended a series of shocking cracks, and then collapsed, and trees, rocks, and even forests began to collapse. Diaresis earthquake. It's not. It was the work of that blue dragon. Oh my god, I felt the whole Konoha shaking. What did he do? In just a few seconds, the shock has swept across Konoha, not only causing huge damage, but also making many Konoha shinobi unsteady. Ninjas are like this, let alone ordinary people who flee for refuge. Stop. Do you want to ruin Konoha? Quote. Namikaze Minato glanced at it and found that the good prosperous Konoha was collapsing at an astonishing speed and gradually turned into ruins. He suddenly rushed towards Tien-Yu in fright and anger. Hokage-sama, where was your official power just now? A sneer flashed in Tien-Yu's eyes. Why do you think we came from at Akatsuki? We are here for helping Konoha. Quote. When Namikaze Minato came to him in an instant, his dragon claws slammed down. Click. Whether it was Namikaze Minato, or Uchiha Fugaku and others, who were close at hand, their eyes widened and their faces were shocked. Under the gaze of their horrified pupils, the atmosphere under the pressure of Tien Yu's dragon claw cracked like broken glass. The cobwebs stretched out in all directions, and the atmospheric cracks covering nearly 100 meters made them creepy. Namikaze Minato, justice and peace have never been defined by Konoha. You remembered it for me. Konoha is justice, Akatsuki is evil, this kind of thing can be rewritten no matter how much he can. The only ones who can define justice, evil, and even peace are those who stand at the top. However, the unbearable window period of the throne of Ninja World has lasted for thousands of years. Quote, Tien Yu's unquestionable voice is like a bolt from the blue, exploding in the mind of every Konoha shinobi. A person like you is not worthy to talk about justice, let alone peace. If the ninja realm really has that vacant throne of heaven, it is not even that you can get involved. Quote, Namikaze Minato watched the beautiful and peaceful Konoha gradually turn into ruins, and immediately roared forward, and Rasengan smashed Tien Yu's head. You are too arrogant, Minato. No one is standing in the sky from the beginning. Whether you or me, even Sage of Six Paths is the same. But the unbearable window period of the throne of the sky is about to end. From now on, I will stand at the top. You, and the ninjas of Konoha, will be very honored to be the spectators who have witnessed me sitting on that throne. Quote, Tien Yu was low, domineering, and confident. As soon as the voice of the ninja world fell, the Buddha could not bear the power of his dragon claws, but the atmospheric cracks that were crushed by his dragon claws suddenly shattered. The sky of Konohagakure put the Buddha capital into a freeze, and stopped completely. Boom. But in the next second, with his dragon claws as the starting point, it was enough to throw the mountains and the seas, and let the Buddha-tailed beast bomb explode, and the shock wave spread violently in all directions. Recently, Namikaze Minato, who smashed at him with Rasengan in his hand, was the first to bear the brunt, and was shocked to vomit blood and fly upside down. Stop him. With Rasengan, like a broken kite, Namikaze Minato, who fell into the distance, ignored his injuries. 4 Zeon formations, Nara Shikahisa, Akamaiki Choza, Yamanaka Keiichi, and Mitokado Homura, who had been awakened, hurried forward. Taking the 4 as the starting point, a barrier burning with purple flames rose from the ground, blocking the shock wave caused by Tien Yu in it. Boom. However, the 4 purple flame array had just risen, but it collapsed as soon as it touched the shock wave. The 4 purple flame array can't be locked at all. Nara Luju and the others vomited blood and flew upside down, with a shocked expression on her face. A face-to-face. Even the strong cage level can be trapped, and even the tail beasts that run wild can block the 4 purple flame formations for a period of time, and they can't even resist Tien Yu's shock wave for a time. Fugaku. Although the 4 purple flame array could not stop Tien Yu's shock wave in the form of a blue dragon, he won the opportunity for the show operation for the fastest man in the ninja world. No, Namikaze Minato, who was shocked just now, has returned with blood. Use 4 Red Yang formation. Namikaze Minato performed the Flying Thunder God technique 3 times in a row at the moment when the 4 purple flame array collapsed with the number 1 hand speed in the ninja world, and staged a wave of extreme micro-manipulations. For the first time, he brought Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was in a fierce battle with Orochimaru. The second time, he took advantage of the Flying Thunder God wood style that Quiet Mimi left on Danzo when Might Guy made a noise in the roots last time, and directly transferred Danzo, who had been hiding in the root base to watch the excitement. For the third time, he will be brought here by the flying Uchiha Fugaku. It is good. Sarutobi Hiruzen can't worry about why Uchiha Fugaku is qualified to perform 4 Red Yang formation. Seeing that Konoha was about to be healed, he immediately closed the seal and pressed his hands down. 4 Red Yang formation. At the same time, Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Fugaku also completed the seal. The 4th generation not only abolished the old man's roots, but also left the old man with the Flying Thunder God wooden style. Although Danzo is controlled by Sharingan, apart from obeying Obito's orders, his thinking, behavior, and handling are no different from him before he was manipulated by Obito. When he was transferred by Flying Thunder God, he saw the earth-shattering shock wave rushing toward his face, and he was so scared that he printed on the spot, and cooperated with Namikaze Minato to perform the 4 Red Yang formation. On the other hand, Uchiha Obito, who manipulates knowledge, originally used the idea of weakening the 4th Hokage line by daybreak, and then reorganized the roots. But as soon as Tenyu moved and destroyed the world, he changed his mind on the spot and let Nao Ying and Namikaze Minato join forces. Boom! With the 4 red yang formation that can block the 10 tailed beast bomb frontally, the Namikaze Minato 4 men dangerously blocked the shock waves caused by Tenyu's gestures. Kino's large Konoha still has more than 1/3 of the area under the claws of Tenyu, turning into ruins during combat. Yes, among the people I have met, there is no one better than you. In the 4 red yang formation, Tenyu not only didn't panic, but while appreciating that even 10 tails could be trapped in front of him, he applauded Namikaze Minato slightly. Qinglong, is life really so worthless in your eyes? If you really succeeded just now, not only Konoha shinobi, but also many innocent villagers will die. Quote. Namikaze Minato roared sternly, Master Hokage, are there few civilians who died in your village? The corner of Tenyu's mouth twitched, revealing deep disdain. If you don't say far, just say near. My 3 best friends, Yahiko, Nagato and Konan, their parents are all civilians without exception, but without exception, they all died at the hands of you Konoha shinobi. Since you and I are both the ones who picked up the butcher knife, why bother in that pretentious manner? This will only make me look down on you Konoha's Hokage even more. Quote. Tenyu's words made Namikaze Minato's complexion even more ugly. But 4th Hokage couldn't refute it at all. But one thing, you were right. Peace, justice, these things, I don't care about them all. All I want is to sit on the throne of that day and become the only king in the ninja world. Of course, before becoming a king, it is also good to enjoy the scenery on both sides of the road leading to the end of the throne. After all, this is also quite a pleasing thing. Quote. This is the first time Tenyu has unreservedly declared his ambition in front of the world. He wants to be king. Become the only king sitting on the throne of heaven. As for peace and justice, they are nothing but the pursuit of Nagato and Yahiko. Not his pursuit. It's just that the peace pursued by Nagato and Yahiko doesn't happen to contradict his ambitions. He is well versed in the grace of springs and drips water in return for his purpose of being a man. Others dare not say that it is okay to give Nagato and others a few drops of water. King, is this what he is chasing? No wonder he has such a strong spirit and will. Orochimaru, Sasori, Kakuzu, the official members and interns of Akatsuki, all looked up at Tenyu who was entrenched in the sky with shocked faces. Become a king. No one in the ninja world has ever put forward this statement. Even Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara in the Sengoku era did not have such ambitions. However, now the Qinglong at Akatsuki raised it. Openly to the strongest ninja village in the ninja world, Konohagakure declares his ambition to become a king. He even stepped on Konohagakure as a step, heading towards the throne of heaven. Is this what Tenyu wants? Standing on the clouds, Konan stared deeply at Tenyu, his beautiful eyes flashed with brilliance. This is the first time that she has seen this man who has been nurturing for 10 years in a real sense. This guy finally said it. There was not much surprise on Nagato's face. After all, when Sarutobi Asuma attacked Tenyu just now, he said something like this. How can you harass our king as soon as you come? Only by this point, it can be seen that he has known Tenyu's ambitions a long time ago. In this regard, he did not have any conflicting thoughts. Not to mention the 10 years of friendship between each other, just to say that there is no conflict between what he and Tenyu are chasing. What he wants is the nuclear peace and tolerance world. What Tenyu wants is the throne of heaven. Everyone is still that simple dream-chasing boy who never forgets his original intention. Working together is not a problem. The king, Namikaze Minato, Sarutobi Hiruzen and other Konoha shinobi are all moved by Tenyu's ambition. They never expected Qinglong at Akatsuki to have such terrifying ambitions. I won't let you have a chance to become a king. Namikaze Minato maintained the 4 red yang formation, staring firmly at Tenyu. You mean you can help me quit the king's addiction at any time? Tenyu's eyes were slightly cold. Just a golden flash to help him get rid of the king's addiction. Do you really think you are much cute? Even if it is the cute duo, who is also the Azure Dragon, face to face, he who holds the power of the 2-4 Emperor's templates will help cute and multi-emperor addiction in minutes. I can bet on the name of my Konoha 4th Hokage. Quote. Namikaze Minato said every word. The voice was utterly unwavering. Don't speak wild words, it will only reveal your weakness. Tien Yu's eyes flashed with cold light, and a terrifying dragon-shaped blue light burst out of his whole body, as well as black and red lightning that wrapped around his body. 0. What makes you think you can do it? 4 Red Yang formation blocked my blow, or do you think this 4 Red Yang formation can trap me, so you once thought it could narrow the distance between you and me? If so, then I am sorry. Because the things that give you hope will be completely crushed by me soon. Quote. The cold, domineering voice fell, surrounded by the dragon-shaped blue light and roaring black and red lightning. Tien Yu's hundreds of meters long body began to shrink and deform. In an instant, he transformed into a 6-meter-high human dragon form under the horrified eyes of Namikaze Minato, Uchiha Fugaku and others. Obviously, the body size has become smaller. Why does the oppression he gives people become stronger? Uchiha Fugaku was so shocked that Mangekyo Sharingan appeared. He feels almost like the teacher now. No, it's even stronger than the oppression the teacher gave me. Quote. Sarutobi Hiruzen was horrified and couldn't help shouting to Namikaze Minato and others. As strong as first Hokage. Isn't the blue dragon at Akatsuki the strongest man in the ninja world? Quote. Uchiha Fugaku looked at Tien Yu in amazement. The strongest man in the ninja world. This book was just shocked by Uchiha Fugaku and couldn't help but shout out. But as soon as he said this, whether it was the person of Akatsuki or the person of Konoha Shinobi, without exception, they felt that it was just right to use Tien Yu. The ambition to chase the throne of heaven. Unmatched physique. The power that raised half of Konoha to the ground with gestures. Coupled with the extremely domineering appearance, boldness and will in the form of human dragon. All of this is horrifying and moving. To describe it as the strongest man in the ninja world is really suitable. Stabilize the barrier. Never let the Azure Dragon come out of the barrier. Quote. Namikaze Minato murmured in his heart, the strongest man in the ninja world, and while tacitly acquiescing in his heart, he became more afraid. This man is much more terrifying than the old ninja Shira. Sarutobi Hiruzen, Uchiha Fugaku, and Danzo were shocked, not daring to have any reservations, and tried their best to stabilize the 4 Red Yang formation. They all saw the horror of Qinglong. Once Qinglong is freed from the 4 Red Yang formation, they all know what the consequences will be. Fortunately, the people at Akatsuki didn't take advantage of this time to act on us. The only thing that makes Namikaze Minato feel fortunate is Kakuzu, Orochimaru, Sasori, Nagato and Konan. These Akatsuki members all stood by and watched the lively gesture. If these Akatsuki members who pulled out swarmed at this moment, they would have scalp numb after thinking about it. But even so, Sarutobi Hiruzen and the others frequently looked at Nagato and others. Obviously, they still don't worry about these Akatsuki members. Don't look at it, Mrs. Sarutobi. Unless Jun Tien Yu speaks, people like us will never interfere. Quote. Orochimaru chuckled and shook his head. It's not that he doesn't work hard. Rather, as a Akatsuki person, even if it is only an intern, Nagato has told him about Akatsuki's various traditional customs since the day he joined the organization. The mission can fail, but the rules can't be broken. After all, the task failed and you can do it again. But once the tradition of single-handedness and non-teamwork breaks down, there is no chance to start again. We Xiao people have always been able to fight singles and never play teams. Kakuzu is righteous, and the holy light is awe-inspiring. Putting the Buddha in for himself, as a person at Akatsuki, is proud of having this glorious tradition at Akatsuki. We are totally different from you Konoha Shinobi, who are despicable and shameless, who always rely on gang fights to fight fakes. Sasori of the Red Sand is full of air, confident and awe-inspiring. Seeing this, Nagato and Konan both looked at these employees with relief. This is the Akatsuki people, they brought it out. It is not that they are proud, but the people of Akatsuki do have the qualifications to be proud. In this ninja world that prides itself on being despicable and unscrupulous, Akatsuki, who can be singled out and never fight in groups, is definitely a clear stream. Quote. Namikaze Minato opened his mouth, but was speechless in the end. He found that the longer he was in contact with Akatsuki's people, the harder it was to hate the organization. Except for TNU, the Blue Dragon, Akatsuki is basically the absence of parents per capita. The parents who were absent were basically killed by Konoha shinobi. Forget about such a tragic organization. But the people who came out of this organization were surprisingly magnificent, luminous, and upright. Fights are not gang fights. Fight without sneak attack. Everyone will do it again, and everyone will be proud of it. It's not that he knew that the other party was engaged in terrorist activities, but now Konoha was attacked again. Namikaze Minato felt that if he met someone at Akatsuki outside, he might have enjoyed drinking with the other party. Nagato, don't be affected by what these people say. No matter how nice they are, they can't hide that they are a group of inherently evil and lawless rebelliousness. Quote. When Sarutobi Hiruzen saw Namikaze Minato was touched, he said inwardly. I see, Lord Third Generation. Namikaze Minato nodded, his expression regained solemnity. Although it was a little regrettable, he could only say sorry to these people at Akatsuki in his heart. As fourth Hokage, all he can do is to kill the group of Akatsuki members in front of him one by one, and then send a pair of good Konoha coffins to express his feelings. The strongest man in the ninja world is going to show off. Suddenly, Uchiha Fugaku's nervous, solemn voice suddenly sounded. The three people who maintained the four red yang formation immediately slapped their whole body with a spirit, staring at the inside of the four red yang formation intently one by one. I saw in the four red yang formation, after TNU changed from a 100-meter-long blue dragon to a 6-meter human dragon form, he first glanced at his hands, and even he was shocked by the power he had mastered. Immediately afterwards, he raised his hands and thrust into the atmosphere in front of him. Every movement of his is not fast, even a bit slow, but it makes everyone feel an unstoppable sense of powerlessness. Puff! A shocking scene appeared. The atmosphere was poked by TNU's 10 fingers, just like glass pierced by steel pipes. First there were holes visible to the naked eye, and then the spider web cracks stretched out in all directions along the 10 holes. Click! When these cobweb cracks extended to the extreme, the space in the four red yang formation could not bear the Buddha. The frame was frozen first, and then, like a shattered mirror, a piece of space directly peeled off and shattered. Boom! The shock force that raised half a leaf to the ground, far beyond the previous one, burst out like a nuclear explosion, spreading across the entire four red yang formation in an instant. Stay steady, we can win. Namikaze Minato was so excited that his face was a bit sullen. Even outside the four red yang formation, he could clearly feel the terrifying power in the formation. He couldn't imagine if this power broke away from the four red yang formation and then burst out in Konoha, what would it be like? Sarutobi Hiruzen, Uchiha Fugaku, and Danzo did not speak, but gritted their teeth to stabilize the four red yang formation. The mayfly shakes the tree, and he doesn't know what to do. TNU glanced at the four people indifferently, and the hands that plunged into the atmosphere suddenly pulled in different directions to the left and right at the same time. Nuota's four red yang formation will be twisted like twists and straightened like noodles. This continuous deformation only lasted less than 2 or 3 seconds, and a burst of white light that made the sky and the sun faded slightly in the array. Boom! In the next second, the four red yang formation that even Ten-Tail's tailed beast bomb could hold was completely exploded. Do not. Once the four red yang formation was broken, the infinite shock force that was blocked in the formation was like an angry dragon that had been trapped for many years and was finally liberated, and immediately burned everything in front of him with infinite anger. No, TNU tore the atmosphere between his hands and feet, and the shock caused by it was even more terrifying than the disaster caused by a raging dragon. Without the blockade of the four red yang formation, once the shock was vented, Namikaze Minato and Sarutobi Hiruzen were the first to bear the brunt. They can't do anything. People are already submerged in waves of shock waves like raging waves. As the shock wave spread in all directions, it spread to Konoha in all directions. Not only Namikaze Minato, but Konoha Jonin who stayed at the scene to fight against the people of Akatsuki such as Nagato, and the special Jonins were all ruthlessly shaken like a leaf boat on the sea. Waves swallowed by huge waves. I don't know how long it has been. The constant roar of loud noises, the white light that eclipsed the heavens and the earth, and the shock waves that swallowed everything finally dissipated one by one. The submerged Konohagakure was also gradually exposed to the sight of everyone who stood tall in the sky, stepping on the clouds. The members of the Akatsuki mission looked down on the audience condescendingly and found that the former prosperous Konoha streets, forests, and lakes all disappeared and turned into dust. From this glance, Konohagakure, which has a radius of more than tens of kilometers, seemed to have been washed by a missile. Except for the cracks and pits on the surface, the broken Hokage rock that seems to collapse at any time is barely lingering, but it is full of dilapidated ruins with smoke and dust. As for people, except for Tenyu, who was sitting alone on the head of first Hokage, the Akatsuki mission could no longer see anyone from the ruins. If it only destroys the scope, 8 tails and 9 tails among the tail beasts can do it. It can be destructive. The 9 tails demon fox, which is the strongest among the 9 big tail beasts, is not as good. Orochimaru looked at Konohagakure, who was razed to the ground and no one was inhabited. He felt cold in his hands and feet, and his gaze at Tenyu was also full of heat. He could see it clearly just now. He leveled the strongest forbearance village. Tenyu did it in his gestures. In other words, maybe this is not Tenyu's strongest strength. When this terrifying thought arose, his body couldn't help shaking. He wanted to know how strong the strongest man in the ninja world would be if he had full firepower. Can the country be wiped out in one blow? Is this the measure of the strongest man in the ninja world? Sasori of the Red Sand looked at the Konoha that was flattened by the nuclear, and couldn't help being deeply moved by Tenyu's strength. I have worked with the strongest man in the ninja world twice. Once in the short book street, once in the Akatsuki base. But in the end I still survived. Starting today, my Kakuzu record has been added. In addition to challenging the gods of the ninja world without dying, there is also a 2-time challenge to the strongest man in the ninja world without dying. Quote, Kakuzu silently added another brilliant record to his record. After playing the record for half a century, not only can I change to another one and continue to play. His legendary ninja name is also more stable. It wasn't him who said that, looking at the ninja world, who can achieve the achievement of challenging the god of the ninja world and fighting the strongest man in the ninja world twice, and who has not died, besides his legendary ninja Kakuzu, who else? Quote. Nagato closed Rinnegan. He is afraid that if he continues to open his eyes, he can't help but let this legendary ninja who is pouring water without authorization and madly mixed with private goods in his own record feel pain. Quote. Conan sighed secretly. What a logical ghost, Kakuzu. This pretty girl was careless, she actually got a wink. This legendary ninja is not worth the price at all. Quote. Orochimaru and Sasori of the Red Sand, who were still moved and surprised, suddenly turned their heads and looked at Kakuzu with weird eyes. The truth is here. It turns out that this is how the legendary ninja came. This is how the brilliant record of challenging the god of ninjas without dying came from. Before, the two of them had similar speculations when they clashed with Kakuzu at the base at Akatsuki. It just suffers from no evidence. After all, regardless of whether Kakuzu still has a whole card that hasn't been opened. Legend has it that ninjas are strong, there is nothing to say. Shadow level properly. But that's it. At least Sasori of Akasha after getting the pacifist design, and Orochimaru, who has transformed himself into White Snake Sage again, dare to say that it is not a problem to hit Kakuzu on the ground. However, now they found evidence. It deserves to be the old immortal who has lived from the Sengoku era to the present. Is this fool really good at pouring water? Orochimaru could no longer hold back the numbness in his heart, and cursed secretly. Just from the fact that Kakuzu murmured twice to challenge the strongest man in the ninja world, he knew that the water content of this so-called legendary ninja was almost frantic. Even if he is as cheeky as him, he only dares to add a little bit of water to his reputation, such as adding the legendary. But how about Kakuzu? The level of water mixing is simply not too utterly conscious. Don't say anything else. When it comes to mixing water and adding personal goods to your own record, everyone at Akatsuki is willing to call Kakuzu the strongest. Hey, the legendary duel between me and the strongest man in the ninja world that day in the Kingdom of Wind, now I want to come really like it happened yesterday. Suddenly, Sasori of the Red Sand looked towards the direction of the Wind Country, and then let out a deep sigh. He realized it. People walk in the ninja world, and their record depends on blowing. This is not as strong as Konoha Shira. Ninja Dance King and Zubuki Uchiha Madara all use Hashirama's power to set off their own strength. Witnessing that Kakuzu didn't change his face, he added an understatement to his record. He challenged the strongest man in the ninja world twice. Master Sasori said that he also learned this hand operation from the elders in the ninja world. No, I just polished it up a little bit, and took some private goods into the record. The battle that was hammered by Tianyu with one hand immediately became a duel in the legend, and by the way, it was just like what happened yesterday. This is simply not too perfect. Kakuzu. Orochimaru. Nagato. Conan. Good guys. I thought Kakuzu would be mixed with water at Akatsuki. It seems that from now on, not only will there be one more legendary ninja at Akatsuki, but there will also be more people in the ninja world. Everyone said, I have challenged the strongest man in the ninja world without dying. Master Sasori Tenbuki. Boom. Suddenly, a hand suddenly appeared in the pile of Konoha ruins. Immediately afterwards, Uchiha Fugaku pushed away the boulder that was on his body and crawled out of the rock pile. When Uchiha Fugaku got up, he was stunned by the sight in front of him. Konoha, the shinobu village that made him love and hate in the past, is gone. Bang bang bang. As the Uchiha patriarch lost his mind, people also crawled out of different locations in the ruins. Sarutobi Hiruzen, Shimura Danzo, Pig Deer Butterfly. These ninjas who can survive the earthquake triggered by Tianyu are all the elite Jonin starting. Looking at it, there are very few. Compared with the hundreds of ninjas who participated in the war, the horror of casualties was shocking. Call out. At this time, Namikaze Minato also returned. It is different from Sarutobi Hiruzen and others who are covered in dust and ragged clothes. Namikaze Minato, 4th Hokage, who was covered with blood just now, looked so personable on the outside. Not only is the whole body free of dust and bloodline, even the hairstyle is not messy, and even the clothes are not wrinkled at all. Let alone breakage. I don't know if the speed of the Golden Flash is really that fast. Before being submerged by the shock wave, I not only used the Flying Thunder God technique to dodge in time, but also had time to do another dressing and tidy up before my house was trampled on. Hairstyle. Qinglong. Namikaze Minato found himself going to change clothes. Konoha was gone when he came back. There were only dozens of ninjas who participated in the battle. He stayed for a while, waited for him to turn and look up at Tianyu sitting on the first Hokage rock. When he went, his eyes had become extremely cold. Any questions? Tianyu looked at Namikaze Minato for a while. He doesn't even have the courage of a king. How can such a look put pressure on him? Is this why you came to Konoha? Namikaze Minato said every word. The sound of each character is like a cold February wind blowing on the face, making people bitterly cold. The king wants to talk about credit, saying that nuclear flat Konoha means nuclear flat Konoha. This is what I said to Aburame Jawei, who sent Rain Shinobi to demonstrate to us. Although you didn't hear it, and he didn't have the opportunity to tell you personally, it doesn't affect my merits of keeping my promises. Quote. Tianyu said naturally, I won't let you leave Konoha alive. Bet on everything about my Namikaze Minato. Quote. Namikaze Minato's eyes are as sharp as a knife. Summoning technique. He bit his finger, and after a round of lightning seals, he patted down with his right hand. With the short sword stuck in his waist and a pipe in his mouth, the toad bunta with the word, arrogant, on his face has been summoned to Konoha. Wentai, be careful. This time the guy is the Akatsuki Qinglong I mentioned to you last time. Quote. Before, he hadn't dared to make a toad in Konoha summoning for fear of causing too much damage. But now, Konoha that used to be prosperous is gone. He didn't have any big worries. Did he ruin Konoha? Toad Wentai looked at Konoha's miserable state, and his pupils tightened into sharp needles. Is this really Konoha? He can hardly recognize it. Although the three ninjas are not there, Konoha is also full of powerhouses now. Akatsuki Qinglong can destroy Konoha by himself. This is too strong. Frankly speaking, I can't think of any way to deal with Qinglong for the time being. His body is too strong. At this stage, I can only rely on my spiral flashing super round dance roar 3 styles to hold him. Quote. Namikaze Minato's voice hadn't even spread, and the flash bomb had fallen. The golden glitter bloomed instantly. Dozens of flying thunder god Kuwu flew all over Tien Yu's body. Call out. Without any signs, the Namikaze Minato people had already held a Rasengan in each hand, and appeared out of thin air above one of the flying thunder god Kunai. But just when he was about to smash the 2 Rasengans in his hand against Tien Yu's eyebrows, he found in horror that Tien Yu, who should have been impossible to react, was looking directly at him with a smile. That expression put the Buddha saying to him, "That's it. That's it. He found me." Namikaze Minato's heart jumped, almost instinctively disappeared into the air and returned to the original position. At this time, the golden flash of the flash bomb he had thrown also disappeared. How could he find me? Although returning to the place unscathed, Namikaze Minato looked ugly. Suddenly, he thought of the fight with Tien Yu just now, and this blue dragon seemed to have reacted. Why are you not showing up? Quote. Tien Yu saw Namikaze Minato's face full of jealousy, and the smile on his face became more intense. 4th generation, what's wrong with you? Toad Wen is too confused. He was also ready to take action at any time. As a result, after a round of flash bombs, Namikaze Minato still stood in place. No, 4th generation did not move, on the contrary, it has already shot. I just don't know the reason, and return without success. Quote. Soon, Toad Wentai noticed something was wrong. He saw flying thunder god Kunai in different positions beside Tien Yu's feet. Based on his knowledge of Namikaze Minato, 1 flash bomb is enough time. This may not be the strongest, but it is definitely the 3 or 4 rounds of the Naruto show. Wentai, he is faster than me. No, Qinglong's reaction just now was definitely not simply faster than me. A more accurate statement should be that he saw through my intentions. Yes, exactly, he can see through my actions and even predict my next move. Quote. Namikaze Minato thought about it a bit, and has analyzed a lot of intelligence. No matter how fast people react, there are limits. In front of his flying thunder god technique, there was too little time left for the opponent. Like Tien Yu's performance just now, it didn't seem to be simply faster than him. On the contrary, it was more like seeing through his intentions and predicting his next move. Minato, what are you kidding? Even Uchiha's Sharingan can only see through forbearance, body, and illusion. It is almost impossible to predict the next move. What's more, at your speed, even Sharingan can't see through. Quote. Wen stared at Toad in disbelief. As a family of Mount Myoboku toads who have witnessed the rise and fall of various clans in the ninja world, he still knows 1 or 2 gossips. Flying Thunder God technique is the one who devotes his life to Uchiha and devotes his life's talents to the creation of Senju Tobirama, who aimed at Sharingan. The first victim was Uchiha Madara's younger brother. Uchiha Izuna of Mangekyo Sharingan is turned on. Senju Tobirama used the life of this Uchiha Izuna to interpret his research results to the ninja world. Faced with the Flying Thunder God technique, which does not require any physical actions, but only needs to move between thoughts, which can jump in space, even Mangekyo Sharingan's insight is meaningless. So I suspect that his ability is not activated by his eyes. It's perception, a perception similar to Sage Mode. Quote. Just after learning observation Haki twice, Namikaze Minato has basically analyzed Tien Yu's experience and color. Am I right, Qinglong? After speaking, Namikaze Minato looked towards Tien Yu. It's worthy of being the most beautiful Hokage. Yes, in front of my observation Haki, all your ninjutsu is meaningless. Quote. The opportunity to pretend to be forced to the door, how can you let it go by asking an old forced king? Anyway, seeing and hearing has been conjectured by Namikaze Minato, and it is no less than a name. If it was before, Tien Yu really didn't have the habit of answering the enemy's questions. It can bring together the 2 kings' qualifications, especially the completion of the Whitebeard template has reached 100%. After having the super top conqueror's Haki, his spirit has become unprecedentedly strong. Disdain to be sneaky and cover up like people in the ninja world. How about knowing his abilities? Whitebeard's abilities are not well known, but who can do nothing about it? Stronger than naval headquarters, come out all the time, and the agency's calculations are nothing more than nothing. What's more, the 4 Emperors templates of Kaido and Whitebeard are set in one. With a gesture, he can push all conspiracies and tricks. It is as expected. Namikaze Minato's face sank like water. Even if he had known it a long time ago, when Tianyu admitted, he still felt heavy in his heart. How can you fight this? Minato, you said that now we surrender to Akatsuki Qinglong, will he accept our request to surrender and lose only half? You see, Konoha was ruined by him anyway, and Qinglong's goal was achieved. If you may surrender, the Akatsuki of Qinglong might allow you to lose only half. So we don't have to fight. Quote, facing the terrifying oppression that swept from Tianyu, Toad Wen couldn't help but joke to Namikaze Minato. Before taking any action, Tianyu had insight into all their intentions, and could even predict their next move. How do you fight this? Although it is a joke, Toad Wen too thinks it is not unacceptable if the surrender can only lose half. Quote. Namikaze Minato did not speak, but his handsome face became more gloomy. If you approach rashly, you will not only be seen through, you will even be shaken to death on the spot. At Akatsuki, Qinglong's shocking power that can turn Konoha into ruins with his fingers, he has personally experienced it. If he didn't know the Flying Thunder God technique, he would have gone to see Konoha's Hokage in the past. After all, there is no time and space ninjutsu. Facing Tianyu, he is no different from the demigods and Guo Yingzi. They are all gone with one punch. Are you afraid of me? If you want to kill me, you should get closer to me. In other words, are you observing and analyzing my abilities? Unfortunately, this is meaningless. Quote, seeing Namikaze Minato hesitated, Tianyu shook his head and chuckled, while taking the initiative to walk towards the other party. The prerequisite for the usefulness of observation and analysis is based on the fact that the two sides are evenly matched. However, there is a hierarchical gap between you and me called dimensions. Quote, the more he advances, the more Namikaze Minato backs away. Can't retire anymore, Minato. Toad Wen too saw Tianyu step forward, and Namikaze Minato couldn't help taking a step back. Although the ninja's battle only talks about unscrupulous means, and does not talk about bravery, he is afraid that Namikaze Minato will take a few steps back, and may not even be able to mention the courage of the first battle. Water-style iron cannon jade. Thinking of this, Toad Wentai decided to take the lead. He opened his mouth and vomited while he was making seals. Boom! In the rumbling sound, a water ball as big as a hill, like a cannonball, slammed into Tianyu. Don't show up for ugliness skills lower than S-level uprising. Tianyu's footsteps kept on, but he flew to the front of the body before Tai Pao Yu stretched out his index finger and tapped gently. Click! The atmosphere cracked, and the creepy cobweb cracks reappeared. Can one finger perform this kind of spell? Namikaze Minato's eyes widened and swallowed hard. He thought that Tianyu's shock fruit could only be triggered with both hands, but he didn't expect it could be done with one finger. In fact, shock fruit does not stipulate that it can only be activated with hands and feet. Even if Tianyu thinks, even a single hair can display shock fruit. Could it be that this is the technique used by Qinglong to destroy Konoha? As soon as this idea emerged in Toad Wentai's head, he saw a picture that he would never forget. Boom! The atmosphere shattered by Tianyu's finger finally couldn't bear it, and it burst completely. The earth shook wildly and cracked. Immediately afterwards, the land with a radius of 1,000 meters was like a tablecloth that was lifted up by a person, instantly rippling with a 100-meter-high mudslide. Unstoppable, Toad Wentai released several iron cannon jade in a row. Not to mention resisting the shock wave caused by Tianyu's finger, even if it was just a 100-meter mudslide that swept through, he could not explode. Go! Namikaze Minato glanced at Sarutobi Hiruzen and others who were fighting against other members of Akatsuki, and immediately gave up the idea of dodge. If he flies away at this time, he can certainly protect himself. But as soon as he flew away, Sarutobi Hiruzen and others behind him would inevitably suffer. Flying Thunder God Guide Mine. Between the flashes of light, Namikaze Minato had a decision. Instead of flying away, he rushed forward and launched the Flying Thunder God Guide Mine. As the dense, wooden style of Flying Thunder God spread out in the air like a tadpole, the oncoming shock wave was immediately swallowed bit by bit. You are the fastest in the ninja world, Golden Glitter. Is such a slow movement really good? Quote, the voice of the sky suddenly appeared behind Namikaze Minato, and at the same time a finger stretched out to the back of his head. So fast. Namikaze Minato was shocked. He saw it. This is purely physical speed. Not only a little chakra's kind, it moves purely on the explosive power of the body. It is purer than the speed of Cloud Shinobi Village's reckless past generations. Toad short sword. Seeing Namikaze Minato shifting the shock wave, unable to withdraw to resist Tianyu behind him, Toad Wentai immediately slashed down with a knife. 0. Boom. He thought that even if the knife could not hurt the enemy, it would at least be able to clear Namikaze Minato. What made him horrified was that Tianyu faced his Toad short sword, but didn't avoid it, letting his short sword slash on his head. Qian. The light of the knife flashed, and the Toad man holding the knife felt like it was slashing on a steel mountain. In his almost collapsed sight, the Toad short sword slicing on Tianyu's head gradually bends into a full moon shape. Click. Under the clash of gold and iron, the extremely sharp and tough short sword finally broke into two halves. My knife. Toad Wen was too heartbroken and shocked. The Toad's face, which had always been only madly pulling and blasting the sky, added a little bit of horror. Knives are not used like this. Let me teach you, little Toad. Quote. Tianyu's left hand grasped the half of the short sword that fell from the sky, and his body maintained the form of a human dragon, rising from the original 6 meters to 10 meters. Scoff. The black and red lightning that symbolizes Conqueror's haki entangled bursts out, entwining the half of the short sword in his hand, and then using the knife as a rod, wrapped in the storm that blows away the clouds, it rushed towards the Toad. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.